Every life is a story, every moment a chapter. Here on Slow English Stories, we pause to listen.
In a small house, at the bottom of a great, dark hill, there lived a little hen and a little rooster.
The hen was clever and quiet, with feathers the color of warm earth.
The rooster was brave and bright, with a tail like a rainbow and a voice like a trumpet.
They had a small garden and a clean coop, and for a long time they were happy.
But the great, dark hill was owned by a man named Korbes, and his shadow fell over everything, even their small, happy life.
One autumn, the wind grew cold earlier than usual.
It whispered through the thin walls of their coop at night, and the little hen shivered under her wing.
Their store of grain was small, too small for the long winter that was coming.
They had worked all summer, planting and gathering, but Korbes had taken most of it.
He said it was his right.
He owned the land, so he owned the work of their claws and beaks.
The little rooster stood on the fence each morning and crowed at the rising sun, but his song was less joyful now.
It was a question asked to the empty sky.
The little hen watched him, and her heart felt heavy, like a stone.
One morning, the rooster flew down from the fence.
He did not crow.
He walked to the hen and said, "We cannot stay here. Winter is coming, and we have no food.
Korbes has left us with nothing. We must go on a journey."
The hen looked up at the big house on the hill.
It was dark and silent, like a sleeping giant.
"Where will we go?" she asked.
Her voice was a soft cluck, full of worry.
The rooster looked at the house, too.
His bright eyes were not afraid.
They were filled with a cold, clear light.
"We will go to the house of Korbes," he said.
The hen's heart beat faster.
"But that is a terrible place," she whispered.
"He is a terrible man."
"Yes," said the rooster. "He is.
"And that is why we must go. We will ask for what is ours."
So the rooster, who was very clever with his beak and claws, began to build a carriage.
He found a large, strong nutshell and turned it into the body of the carriage.
For the wheels he found 4 round, red berries, as bright as drops of blood.
He hardened them in the sun until they were strong as wood.
The little hen watched him work.
She saw the care he took, the determination in his every move.
A small seed of hope began to grow inside her.
When the carriage was finished, the rooster said, "We need someone to pull it. We cannot pull it ourselves."
He thought for a moment, then went to a small hole in the wall of the barn.
He chirped softly, and 4 small field mice came out.
They were thin, and their whiskers trembled with fear.
They, too, knew the cruelty of Korbes.
He often left traps near their home.
The rooster spoke to them kindly.
He told them of his plan.
He promised them a share of any grain they might find.
The mice listened, their little black eyes wide.
They were afraid, but they were also hungry.
They agreed.
The rooster made tiny harnesses from blades of grass, and soon the 4 mice were ready.
The little hen climbed into the nutshell carriage.
It was surprisingly comfortable.
The rooster stood proudly at the front, ready to guide the mice.
Are you ready? He asked his small, brave army.
The mice squeaked a tiny yes.
The hen clucked her agreement.
The rooster puffed out his chest and sang a little song, a traveling song he had made himself.
Roll, wheels bright and red. Whistle, mice straight ahead.
We travel now, for what is right, to turn the darkness into light.
On our way, with steady feet, to her corpse we will meet.
And with that, the little carriage began to move.
They had not traveled far when they saw a thin, black cat sitting by the side of the road.
She was washing her face with one paw, but her movements were slow and sad.
When she saw the strange little carriage, she stopped and watched it come closer.
"Where are you going in such a fine carriage?" she asked.
Her voice was like dry leaves rustling.
The rooster stopped the mice.
We are on our way to the house of her corpse, he announced.
The cat's green eyes narrowed.
A low growl rumbled in her chest.
"Her corpse," she hissed.
I know that name.
"I used to live in his barn. I kept it free of rats."
But one day, he said I was old and useless.
He kicked me out into the cold.
A tear, like a drop of glass, formed in the corner of her eye.
The little hen felt a deep pity for the cat.
She knew what it was like to be cold and unwanted.
"Join us," the hen said softly from the carriage.
There is room.
"Take me with you," she said, her voice stronger now.
I wish to see her corpse, too.
The rooster nodded.
Gladly. Climb on behind, but be careful. Do not get my red wheels dirty.
The cat leaped gracefully onto the back of the carriage.
Soon, they came to a place where a great, gray millstone lay half buried in the grass.
It was old and covered in moss.
As they passed, a deep, slow voice seemed to come from the stone itself.
"Wait," it rumbled. "Where does this strange procession go?"
The rooster, surprised that a stone could speak, stopped the carriage again.
"We are going to the house of her corpse," he said.
The millstone was silent for a long moment.
"Her corpse," it finally groaned.
I remember him. I once belonged to the mill on the river.
But her corpse was greedy. He ruined the miller, a good and honest man.
The mill fell silent, and I was thrown here to be forgotten.
The rooster looked at the great gray millstone.
He saw not just a rock, but a story of injustice.
"Come with us," he said.
But how? Rumbled the stone. I am heavy and slow.
Then, with the help of the cat and the mice, they managed to roll the heavy stone onto the back of the carriage.
The nutshell creaked and groaned, but it held.
They traveled on, their strange group growing.
They passed a small, abandoned nest under a bush.
A single white egg lay inside, perfectly smooth and cool.
As they passed, a tiny, clear voice called out, "Please, where are you going?"
"We are going to the house of her corpse," she answered gently.
A shiver seemed to run through the egg.
"Her corpse," the small voice whispered. "He is the reason I am alone."
He chopped down the tree where my mother built her nest.
She flew away in terror, and she has not returned.
The hen's heart broke for the little egg.
She carefully reached out with her wing and lifted it into the carriage, placing it gently on a soft bed of leaves she had gathered.
You will not be alone anymore, she promised.
Further down the road, they came to a muddy pond.
A duck was swimming in circles, quacking sadly to herself.
When she saw them, she swam to the edge.
Where is everyone going?
The rooster explained their mission once more.
We are going to the house of her corpse.
The duck flapped her wings in anger, splashing water everywhere.
Her corpse, that villain.
This was once a beautiful, clear pond.
But he built his pigsty upstream, and now the water is dirty and foul.
He has ruined my home.
The duck was so angry, she wanted to join them immediately.
She hopped out of the water and climbed into the carriage, shaking her wet feathers.
In the middle of the path, they saw two more travelers.
One was a long, thin pin. The other was a sharp, slender needle.
They stood together, glinting in the weak sunlight.
Stop! Stop! They cried in voices as sharp as their points.
To the house of her corpse, the rooster said, now a familiar refrain.
The pin and the needle seemed to vibrate with anger.
We know him, they said together.
We belong to a poor seamstress in the village.
She did fine work for her corpse, mending his expensive clothes.
But when she finished, he refused to pay her.
Now she has no money for bread.
The pin and the needle were small, but their anger was great.
They hopped into the carriage and found a small space among the others.
The rooster looked at his passengers.
The quiet hen, the angry cat, the heavy millstone, the lonely egg, the furious duck, and the sharp pin and needle.
They were a strange army, an army of the forgotten and the wronged.
He sang his song one last time, his voice full of power and conviction, as the mice pulled the heavy carriage up the final part of the hill.
They arrived at the house of her corpse.
It was even larger and darker up close.
The windows were like empty eyes.
The door was made of heavy, dark wood.
There was no smoke coming from the chimney.
No sound came from inside.
He is not home, whispered the cat.
The rooster nodded. Good. This gives us time.
The mice pulled the carriage into the barn and hid it under some hay.
Then, one by one, the company went into the house through an open window.
The house was cold and silent inside.
It was very clean, but it was the kind of clean that feels empty, without life or warmth.
The hen felt a chill that had nothing to do with the cold air.
This was a house without love.
They knew they had to hide and wait.
The rooster and the hen flew up to a high wooden beam.
The cat curled up in the cold, gray ashes of the fireplace, almost invisible.
The duck hopped into the large wooden water bucket that stood by the kitchen sink.
The little egg rolled itself carefully into a white towel.
The sharp pin stuck itself deep into the cushion of a large armchair.
The slender needle jumped onto the bed and hid itself right in the middle of the soft, white pillow.
And the great, gray millstone was pushed until it rested on the ledge just above the front door, waiting.
Then all was silent.
They waited.
Suddenly, they heard the sound of heavy footsteps outside.
The front door opened with a loud creak.
Her corpse had come home.
He was a large man with a hard face and cold eyes.
He felt a chill in the air and decided to make a fire.
He walked to the fireplace and bent down to arrange the wood.
As he did, the cat saw her chance.
With a furious hiss, she leaped up and threw a cloud of gray ash right into his face.
"Ack!" he cried, sputtering and coughing.
Blinded by the ash, he stumbled away from the fireplace.
"Water! I need water!" he yelled.
He ran into the kitchen, toward the water bucket.
As he did, the duck stood up and flapped her wings with all her might.
She splashed the cold, dirty water all over him.
He grabbed for the towel hanging on the wall to dry his face.
But as he wiped his eyes, the little egg, which was hidden inside, rolled against his cheek.
It broke.
The sticky yolk ran all over his face, gluing his eyelids shut.
Now he was wet, covered in ash, and completely blind.
He shouted in rage, waving his arms wildly.
He just wanted to sit down to catch his breath.
He felt his way to the large armchair and threw himself into it.
"Ouch!" he screamed, and jumped up immediately.
The pin, hidden in the cushion, had pricked him sharply.
He was now in a complete panic.
The house itself seemed to be attacking him.
He decided he had to get to his bed to lie down.
He stumbled through the dark, found his way to the bedroom, and threw himself onto the bed in despair.
He laid his head on the soft pillow.
But the needle was waiting. It pricked him right in the neck.
He screamed a terrible scream, a sound of pure terror and pain.
He had had enough.
He could not stay in this horrible house another second.
Blinded, wet, and in pain, he ran.
He just wanted to get out.
He found the front door and pulled it open.
He ran out into the night, desperate to escape.
But he had forgotten about the great, gray millstone, waiting silently above the door.
As he ran through the doorway, the millstone tipped.
It fell.
Fell with a great final crash.
And her corpse was gone.
Silence returned to the house.
A moment later, the little hen and the rooster flew down from the beam.
The cat crept out of the fireplace.
The duck hopped out of the bucket.
The pin and the needle came out of their hiding places.
They all gathered at the open door and looked out into the quiet night.
The great millstone lay still.
Their work was done.
There was only a deep, quiet peace.
The long shadow over their lives was gone.
As the first light of morning touched the sky, they turned and left the dark, cold house.
They walked back down the hill together, their strange and wonderful company, toward the promise of a new day.
Her corpse must have been a very wicked man.